In recent years, the World Health Organization has listed online game addiction to the list of neurological diseases, which is in the same group as gambling addiction. Online game addiction causes many negative impacts, affecting emotions and behaviors of the players. The increasing number of children addicted to online games makes parents worried about how to protect their kids and how to find a suitable game for them. The challenge of creating healthy and entertaining games for children is of great interest to many technology organizations and innovators. Among these successes, we have to mention the famous collectible card games named trading card games of Japan, with record selling more than 30 billion cards. This is a game built on famous manga series that have been published around the world, which Japan is considered the cradle of creating the world of adventurous comic book for children in the world. Collectible card games have also been integrated in Vietnam by the intellectual property owners with a traditional copyrighted approach. Kim Dong Publishing House is the publisher of this creative game product in Vietnamese language. In Sharing Vietnam today, we will meet Mr. Tatsuya Konoshita, Representative Director and CEO of Showa Holdings Group, one of the founders of the trading card game trend, to get better understanding on this topic. Welcome to Sharing Vietnam on VTC 10 Netflix channel. Today we're going to have a conversation with Mr. Konoshita from Showa Holding Company, who's creating a lot of interesting games to enhance children's imagination and creativity. Welcome to the show today. Thank you very much for taking your time.
ありがとうございます。
So could you share with our audience how did you evaluate the Vietnam market and decide to introduce game here?
Currently, Vietnam's population is quite high, especially with a young population. Average income is also increasing. Vietnam economy is also on the rise. It will be followed by the era of enjoying entertainment products with content creation. I think we will be able to provide content creative products that serve the development of this era. Thus, we decided to invest in Vietnam.
So trading card game is an intellectual toy that's become very popular in the world in general and in Japan in particular. So how did you come up with the idea and develop the game itself?
Collectible card game is a form of entertainment has been present in the world for a long time. It has been around since 5,000 years ago.
5000年前から遊ばれているものですし
The content of anime and manga today also contributes to enrich the content of the collectible card game. In addition, we created an additional exchange attribute when developing this trading card game. TCG products are well received in the world. This trend becomes prominent in the Vietnamese market as it is the combination of both an international integration and Vietnamese culture. Thus, many users love it.
I also come to be aware that the game is quite new in Vietnam, and when it was imported in, all the content was translated into Vietnamese. So how did you incorporate the game in terms of cultural perspective into the Vietnamese culture?
Our collectible card game is a global and beloved product in many countries. We think that the real success of TCG product is only feasible when it is appealing to children from 5 years old and above. In order to create such a product, in parallel with translating, we also carry out localization. That is, integrate Vietnamese culture's elements into the product so that players can grasp the rules and play easily.
So for the creativity in terms of content for children entertainment has been quite a hot topic in the world. Could you share with our audience the reason, how did you apply those concepts back into the game that you introduced in Vietnam?
In developed countries like Japan, the US or Europe, the content production industry has grown to maturity. With new markets like Vietnam, game products don't have much content creativity. So I think TCG will be greatly preferred by the market.
そのコンテンツに触れていないので、これから皆さんがもっと楽しいこと。
I hope this will be the period when the remaining 6 billion people in the world will embrace and love the product that 1 billion people love. Our company has the advantage in developing entertainment products from content. We will develop attractive entertainment products from unique Japanese content and distribute to many countries around the world.
I also know that your company actually organizes a lot of different events and competitions for the children and also the community. So could you share a little bit about that?
Because our collectible card game is not only for one player on a smartphone, but this is a collaborative game genre where players will meet directly, play, and communicate to each other at the same time. So the events or competitions are needed in the form of offline events and competitions. We want to create many playgrounds for young people to compete, interact, and create a strong community of players.
It is no coincidence that the first collectible card games translated as HAIKYU volleyball chess set was so well received. This card game set is based on the famous Japanese manga HAIKYU and quickly became popular among Vietnamese youth through the translation of HAIKYU Tiny Giant from Kim Dong Publishing House. With the interesting game rules, the HAIKYU volleyball card games allow players to use their personal idea to gather resources, think about how to use those resources and apply them immediately to the game card. For that experience, this card game attracts players to practice their resource management skill, optimally planning from previous experimental failure. In Vietnam, Showa Brand Navy Vietnam is the manufacturer of this card game. In the past, many friendly trading card game competitions like English chess and Chinese chess competitions have been held in Ho Chi Minh City, Hanoi, and other regions throughout the country.
Em đã từng chơi game online và game online đã đem lại những điều không tốt với em như là thiệt hại về sức khỏe và em không thể học tập tốt. Nhưng chơi game này đã giúp em tư duy tốt hơn và để tâm vào cuộc sống. Cái game này giúp em tư duy và suy nghĩ nhiều hơn.
Con đã chơi từ hôm qua, trải nghiệm rất là thú vị. Con nhận nhân vật thì vẽ rất là đẹp, con có thể chơi trực tiếp với bạn bè.
Another difference between the HAIKYU collectible card game and the Japanese version is the way to convey content intimately. With a team of translators and designers who are Vietnamese, these young people do not hesitate to add more unique features in the culture and lifestyle of Vietnam into the game. Thanks to that, the collectible card game content is even more familiar, helping children to be more interested in their country's culture.
Trên cơ bản là được tiếp xúc với một cái sản phẩm văn hóa Nhật thì cảm thấy rất là hào hứng, nhưng mà cũng có rất là nhiều khó khăn. Thì cái khó khăn cơ bản nhất trong đó là cái việc mà chuyển đổi cái ngôn ngữ, cái cách viết của người Nhật là từ cái Hán tự viết theo hàng dọc chuyển sang thành hàng ngang của kiểu Latin của tiếng Việt mình. Chủ yếu là những cái sản phẩm của Nhật thì họ mang được nhiều cái thông điệp của người Nhật. Thì mình qua những cái sản phẩm đó thì mình có thể học hỏi được cái văn hóa của họ, rồi những cái về nói riêng về phần thẩm mỹ thì riêng mình sẽ học được những cái về màu sắc, rồi những cái phối màu của người Nhật, cái gu thẩm mỹ của họ và những cái nét văn hóa thể hiện qua những cái hình ảnh trên những cái thẻ card này.
For a developing country like Vietnam, Raising the level of entertainment games to feed the trends and knowledge of young people is both a challenge and an opportunity. So I also know that Vietnam is a growing market and there are a lot of potential in terms of human resource and manpower you can draw from. So could you share a little bit, like how did you employ all those employees at your company and build the company like you have right now?
Vietnam is known as a destination with abundant human resources, which refers to the overwhelming low-cost labor force in factories.
安い労働力としてたくさんの人がいるっていう意味だったと思います。
But in our field, the job requires employees to be creative, rich in ideas, and most importantly, love the work they are doing.
あと何よりも僕たちがやってるその仕事を楽しんでるとかっていうのがすごく大切な仕事なんですね。
Therefore, the human resources in Vietnam that we seek are creative and passionate about work. Those are important qualities when we hire employees.
その人が楽しんでるそういう人材を求めて見つけているっていうのが僕たちのリクルートをやっている上で大切な点ですね。
So how do you think the employees from your company actually contribute to the success of what you have right now?
Jobs such as products promotion, building, and developing community for collectible card game products in Vietnam. Surely only Vietnamese can do well.
必ずやっぱりベトナムの方に受け入れてもらわなきゃいけない。
Vietnamese employees are the key to convey products in Vietnam most effectively.
コミュニティを作ったりとかするっていうことは
From the Japanese end, we can only take steps to introduce the product to the Vietnamese market. But then, for the product to be well received, it is definitely necessary for Vietnamese employees to love these contents, thereby using their creativity and ideas to promote it in the best way.
あるいはそこで彼らがいろいろ発想してクリエイティブに
So one more issue that I want to address is that the copyright is actually one of the big issues in the world and also particularly in Japan. So is it still a critical issue there in Japan?
In Japan, our company has a long history of producing content creations. And of course, we take copyright protection seriously.
Alright. So when you bring the games into Vietnam, it was also copyrighted as well. So what do you think that element is so important in the concept of bringing the game here?
In the content business, we take copyright protection very seriously. So far, the development of content products belongs to Japan, USA, and Europe. However, the content industry in these markets has grown to maturity, while new markets like Vietnam and Asian countries are potential markets. Over the next 5 or 10 years, Vietnam, as a new content creator, will hold copyright of content products. So, as a country, to protect the newly arised content creators, Vietnam needs to take the issue of copyright protection more seriously.
なので、ベトナムの国としてやっぱりこれから生まれてくるベトナムのクリエイターを守るためにコピーライトというのは非常に必要だと思います。
Thank you very much for taking your time to participate in our show today. Thank you, and I wish you a lot of success in creating more creative game for the community.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for following our program today. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.